doing the show for how long, Pearl? I'm sure you've seen sign language. I've seen sign language many a times, and even online, when I, post videos or go into the comment section, one of the major things when it comes to sign language is women say, "You're hurt. Who hurt you?
Who hurt you?
Who hurt you? Why are you saying this?" And normally it is a rebuttal to factual information. Okay.
Arguably.
No, not arguably. It's factual information.
They say that to me all the time as well. They say, Dinava's just bitter. Look at who hurt you, Dinava. Look at that.
But if we really do break it down, we understand the manosphere and the red pill space. When men are speaking about things like either divorce, right, where men get, shafted in divorces, or, suicide rates amongst men, or the way in which, women treat men in this day and time with the whole misandry, one of the major rebuttals that I found is that women say, "Oh, who hurt you? You're hurt." So my question is, why is that the rebuttal?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you, Dinava. Go for it.
Well, I don't usually say that, but usually when you're talking about who hurts you, maybe like, who's making you trip? Like, why are you acting up? Is it because your brethren are doing better than you, making you feel bad about yourself? Or is it maybe there was a girl that came into your life one day and broke your heart, is making you act some type of way towards everybody else? I think that's where it comes from, even though I don't really say that to people.
But you've heard it though, right? You've heard women say that in regards to men.
Yeah. Actually, I've said it before still.
I was going to say, I've heard you say it.
Okay.
I was about to say, I've heard her say it.
But why is that the rebuttal when they hear factual information, or Auntie, do you think?
I think it's just a fight back, just to try and embarrass people or to make them feel shame, rather than that is just the way it is. That's the first thing they come back with, like, who hurt you? No, nobody's hurt me. This is just the way I am. This is just the way it is. This is just the way I feel. Why does somebody have to hurt me for me to express myself just because I'm a man?
I think
if it was, how many times does a woman say to another woman, who hurt you?
See,
exactly. And they're more damaged than anybody else, the women. It's normally them the ones that get hurt, not the men. But the first thing they say to men is, who hurt you? But I've never heard a woman say to another woman, who hurt you?
I think there's two sides to that, I feel like a lot of the time we speak from experience or things that we've been through. So if you're triggered and you're projecting and having a moment, I feel when people say that. But then there is the other side, because I've been in the position before. If someone's saying something that you feel like you can relate to or you've done, and you're like, the panic is like, oh, who hurt you? Because you know that maybe you've displayed that behaviour or that thing before. But I think there's two.
I think the issue is it's difficult to be able to separate those who are saying who hurt you as a rebuttal because they have nothing else to say to the facts that are being presented. But at the same time, I do feel like we all come from relative trauma, pain experiences. So sometimes our passion can come across misleading. So you might have a fact, but the way in which you're expressing yourself is like, okay, I get that you're passionate about this, but maybe you're not speaking directly to me. You're speaking from a place of hurt. Where did that come from? But I can definitely understand why a man would feel like, okay, now that I'm speaking facts are suddenly who hurt you. But generally, like, why are you coming across so aggressive? Like, just,
But
like,
the thing is, with that, I've always said, like, we're all sitting on this panel, right? We've all been hurt to some degree, right? All of us have had a heartbreak, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Both men and women.
I'm immune.
Everybody got trouble.
Pearl's immune to heartbreak. But I'm saying generally, a lot of women have had a heartbreak.
Yeah.
But when a woman speaks her truth or whatever it is, a man's rebuttal to the woman's argument is not who hurt you. But a woman's rebuttal to a man's argument would be who hurt you.
I just think it's any time a man shows a bit of emotion, that they honestly believe that because he's showing a bit of emotion, they must be showing it just because they've got hurt. No, they're doing it because they got feelings.
The other one I get a lot is you're insecure.
You're insecure.
You're insecure.
Yeah.
But does that separate? Because the thing is, you can have an opinion and you can also at the same time seem insecure. Like those things can coexist at the same time. Mm-hmm. And I can understand that it's frustrating when you're trying to have a conversation that's supposed to be progressive, that someone only highlights the insecurity. But ultimately, I'm highlighting what I'm seeing, and that's not immediately a problem, even though it's not immediately progressive for that conversation.
But the thing is, the who hurt you, in my personal experience, from what I've experienced, is used to deflect. It's a deflection tactic.
Fair.
To not actually deal with what is actually being said.
It's the same thing with you're insecure. It's the same thing with you're insecure.
Yeah.
Then it's like, honestly, modern women have like a a system that they go through.
Yeah.
It usually starts with like who hurt you, then it goes to your insecure. Then they might attack something about your looks or insinuate.
Yep.
And if it's a guy, like if it's me, they usually go for like my style or like the way I look, something like that. The way I'm
You're
built.
white.
Yeah. But if they don't do that, if it's a guy, they might go for his money, say insinuate he has a small, or like say he can't get girls.
Oh, so what about his penis? The size of his penis?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah. And then if that doesn't work, they'll maybe say you need therapy. That's a common one.
Yeah. Small dick energy. I've got small dick energy.
Have you?
Short man syndrome.
Short man syndrome.
Which is the thing.
If you're gay, then say so.
What if they said small titty syndrome?
I mean,
what if guys said that?
But the thing is, there are stereotypes to everything. And again, it's fair to say that these are all deflections, but they are real things. And I think when we're speaking up specifically women who are, throwing out these statements, these are people that perhaps are not used to being in situations where men can articulate themselves, are showing emotion. How do you deal with that? You're probably used to men who shut down and walk away. So now that you're in a situation where somebody's actually giving you the opportunity to communicate, the only thing you're able to say is like, your butters anyway, or like, I don't like, do you get it?
Your butters anyways.
Do you know what I think?
You're dead anyways.
Do you get it?
Shut up, buzz.
I actually think women have a hard time with hearing the truth about themselves.
I agree.
And so when you have a hard time hearing the truth about yourself, your instant reaction is to attack back because you feel attacked.
Yeah.
And it may not generally be an attack.
The most I've ever been attacked is when I said men don't like fat chicks.
Right.
Swear to God.
Exactly.
Oh my.
And like I don't make the rules. I'm just saying by and large they don't.
And it's
Speak to the Jamaicans.
generally.
They love a fluffy gal.
Speak to the Papa Yardie man.
Look at they might like a fat ass and big boobs, but they don't. No guy wants to go.
They like big Becky's.
They like curvy, not fat.
Right.
Yeah, there's a difference.
Oh, wow.
But that's the thing. It's like we have to.
We can't say that on here anymore.
We have to kind of differentiate because, like I said, like my question is like, in your experience as women, the women, would you say that women like to hear the truth about themselves?
No. I remember when I used to be held accountable in my last relationship, which was 5 years, I started crying because I just didn't know where else the conversation would go. I just didn't want to be held accountable. Like I felt like if we're having a dispute, it was like I'm in a position of power. I'm here to tell you what you did wrong. It's like it was like, what do you mean I did something as well to facilitate this? Then I'll just go into my emotional bag and start crying. So it took me a long time to unlearn that. It's like it's okay to we can both be wrong and move forward from the situation.
Would you cry so he would kind of stop coming at you?
Yeah, I feel like he'd feel sorry for me. Maybe he'd lower his tone. Maybe he'll kind of deal with me with a bit more like.
Did he?
Don't want to see. He did. Yeah,
okay,
men don't really like seeing women cry.
Emotional blackmail.
You got feelings.
See, that's what I tell guys. That's what I tell guys. Like we know what we're doing.
Yeah. Honestly, it's actually quite scary and quite tapped. It's actually tapped, and you realize it as you get older how you might have behaved growing up, and especially as a child, trying to be that perfect kid or that girl that behaves in a certain way, and then when you get into relationship setting, you're not with mummy and daddy or the people that tell you that everything you do is right or whatever, and you're like, what do you mean? Like, I can't say that. What do you mean? Like, huh?
Do you know who also do? You know the people that also do that?
Children.
Yeah. Well, yes, I'm saying in a child.
I'm just saying,
Yeah,
like, because I've said that I've been called a misogynist, right? And I've said a lot of modern women just act like children. They do, because like you said, and you admitted to, when it was coming a little bit too close to the bone and it was time for you to take accountability, you started crying, which is manipulation, because you wanted to manipulate that scenario to your benefit,
exactly,
right? And so a lot of men, I feel like, aren't well versed in the way in which women communicate. Part of women's communication strategy is manipulation.
I think
it's a major part of women's communication strategy.
I think it boils down from your parents. If they just stop lying to women. My parents always told me the truth. I was always called full moon because I had a big round head. You know, when they grease your skin, no matter which way the sun shines, my head would always show up. So I grew up with being called big head. Yeah. You know, so people come at me, especially on the podcast, they go, oh, look at that old woman. Yeah, I know I'm old, so that's all right. I know I've got a big head. Come on, you know.
What else?
And my man always tells me straight, you know, you're getting fat, you look big, you know.
At least you grew into your head.
No, I haven't.
Your head don't look big right now. Your head looks like normal size now. You grew into it.
I don't think so. You're being kind. But yeah, I find that growing up as a child, too many, you know, oh, she's so pretty. I tell my granddaughter, look at you in your big head. You got a big head just like your daddy's got a big head. Your grandma's got a big head. Everyone's got a big head. Look at you in your big head. So nobody can't insult her because she's been insulted from young. You got a big head. And nobody can't tell her anything. And I think sometimes that it's a shock to women if they get a man that tells them the truth. My man tells me the truth all the time. But people think that he's being really cruel to me or he's being horrible. And how can you just take what? The fact that he's telling me the truth? Like, I broke down on the other day. I didn't have no petrol in my car. He said to me, "Are you stupid?" I said, "Of course I am. Why would I break down?" You know?
I do want to add though, because I know before we started filming briefly, we're always saying that men communicate from more of a logical standpoint. And I think another thing that I realized in my relationship when I was reflecting is that I wasn't used to such like bluntness and logic. I didn't know how to handle that. And it took me a long time to understand that my quote-unquote partner at the time being straightforward, blunt, wasn't him purposely trying to hurt my feelings or like not showing emotion. But again, I think men need to also understand that because we communicate differently, we tend to communicate from emotion. So when you're speaking to me and it comes across blunt and it's like, I'm not really feeling any emotion, I want to kind of pull that out of you. I'm not intending to manipulate you, but I'm just trying to, can we make this, we're not in a boardroom, like I want to feel like I'm speaking to a human being and there's nothing there.
We're from different planets.
Which is fair.
Is it men are from Mars?
Which is fair.
Yeah.
Do you know
Have
what
you
it
ever
is?
had a guy tell you something and like low key you're like, oh,
Yeah, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean by that?
you're like, it's fine.
It's cool.
Like,
No,
you're
but-
nice today.
I'm like so cool.
But the thing is, I always tell men to not get drawn onto the female battlefield
Nah.
because you communicate in a way that we don't, right? And because men, essentially, I know women like to act like they don't. Men essentially want to make women feel the best. We do. Like, if you're our woman, we want to keep you as happy as we can, right? But we understand that you understand that. And so if you understand that we want to make you happy, you might manipulate us to try and make you happy, which will also feed into the arguments, or let's say arguments, but the communication that we have. So I've always said, you're saying, oh, we want you to show a little bit of emotion. Once we do that, once you see a chink in the armor, you try and open that whole door. So I'm just like, as a man, I'm just like, no, we have to be logical and stoic and straightforward. We have to be, because if I've noticed that if a lot of women feel like there's a chink in a man's armor, they'll exploit it.
Do you know what I found? The best thing to do,